It is time for another big drone showdown. Today we've got the DJI Matrice 4TD versus the DJI Matrice 30T. Which weather-rated thermal drone is the right one for you? We're going to talk all about it. Don't go anywhere. Hey everybody, David here from Aerial Influence. Thank you so much for stopping by once again for one of these drone showdowns. Today we're talking about the brand new DJI Matrice 4TD versus the DJI Matrice 30T. So just real quick, the main differences between the 4T and the 4TD is that one, the 4TD actually fits in a dock. So if you get a dock 3 from DJI, this is the dock where the drone lives there. It can be deployed at any time from a remote location. Really cool technology, but if you're not quite there yet and you just want to get the drone, you can actually buy the Matrice 4TD separately. You get its own remote, you get a case that you can carry it in, batteries, etc. You can buy a whole package for the Matrice 4TD just by itself. Another difference is the Matrice 4TD does not fold up like the Matrice 4T. So a long time ago when DJI had the Phantom 4 was the most recent one, it did not fold up. They came to the Mavic series and they started doing them so they could fold. It was kind of convenient. It's going to fit in a smaller box. So kind of a cool thing. The Matrice 4T, it does fold up just like the Mavics did, but the Matrice 4TD does not fold. So that footprint, what you see is what you get. It is not gonna fold up, but like I said, there is a case for it, so you'll have that as well. The other big difference is that the Matrice 4TD is IP55 rated. It is weatherproof, so you can fly it in rain, you can fly it in snow. As long as you dry it off when you're done, you make sure all the ports are closed, you're gonna be able to fly this in all sorts of different weather. Whereas the Matrice 4T is not weatherproof. You do not want to fly it in precipitation. So just know that going in. If weatherproof is really important for you, you want to be looking towards the Matrice 4TD or the Matrice 30T. Otherwise, the Matrice 4T and Matrice 4TD are exactly the same. Their sensors are the same. Their thermal is going to be the same. The zoom range, all the smart features, all of that is the same. But the things that I mentioned, those are big differences and may make you think about which drone you want to actually purchase between the two of those. But let's move on to our big drone showdown. A lot of people have been talking about, all right, I want a weatherproof drone. I want a big zoom range. I want a great thermal sensor. Which drone should I purchase? Now in the past, no question, I would have said the DJI M30T, the Matrice 30T, head and shoulders above most of the competition. Just a solid drone. It's got smart track, all sorts of different things, but that was absolutely my number one answer for anybody, any of our police departments or fire departments that asked. We would absolutely guide them to the Matrice 30T. But now comes the Matrice 4TD, and this drone checks a lot of boxes. It's going to be a little cheaper than the M30T, and it's even got some smart features that the Matrice 30T does not have. So I'm going to go through the features now. I'm going to show you some comparison video, and you're going to be able to decide, all right, do I want to spend a little more on the M30T, or do I want to go with the brand new shiny Matrice 4TD? So hopefully we help you make that decision. All right, so first, the size and weight of the Matrice 4TD is considerably less than the Matrice 30T. Both of these drones have high resolution 640 by 512 thermal sensors. They're pretty much identical, and they both have super resolution, which will actually boost your resolution on the thermal by double. So it starts at 640 by 512, you double it to 1280 by 1024, and that resolution is going to be pretty great. So the thermal sensor is not any bigger. It isn't that big size, but they're using some sort of AI to increase the pixels in the thermal sensor. You can see heat signatures in the middle of the night. If you are involved in a search and rescue operation, this can be invaluable to, say, finding a missing person, a missing older person who has gone wandering off, a child who may be lost. Using a thermal drone is going to be a huge plus for you, and both of these drones have that. Also, with the thermal on both of these, you're gonna have multiple palettes to choose from, whether it's white hot, black hot, or there's like a dozen other ones. Usually with our police and fire departments, and our public safety agencies, they're using black hot or white hot. That just seems to be easier for them to pick out those hot spots when they're on a mission. You can do isotherms on both of these drones, where essentially you're in your thermal camera, you're gonna draw a little box on the screen, and it's gonna show you the hottest and the coldest point within that little box. So that can be used for multiple applications, and both of these drones have isotherm. Also, with both of these drones, you can do what's called a split screen. So you can have your thermal on the left-hand side of the screen, your color camera on the right-hand side of the screen. And when you zoom, you can actually make them zoom together. But that's a really good tool for people that are needing to see both the thermal heat signatures on the screen, but also want to see what's going on the RGB side. Both of these drones have night scene mode. This is when you're flying at night, and basically the drone is going to take all of the ambient light that it can find, whether it's moonlight or street lamps. It takes all of that light in to brighten up the scene. Now, I will say that the Matrice 4TD is definitely better at night scene than the Matrice 30T. They both have 48 megapixel wide angle cameras. Now, this camera is mostly going to be used for things like mapping, although the M30T or the Matrice 4TD, neither one of those are going to be great for mapping because they don't have what the 4E and 4D have. I know, lots of alphabetical stuff going on here, but those have mechanical shutters, which is really important. They've also got much bigger sensors on their RGB cameras. So for mapping, you're gonna wanna go with something like the 4D or the 4E, but keep in mind, those don't have thermal on them. So you kinda have to choose which one you want. Both of these have zoom cameras on them. The Matrice 4TD has 112 times hybrid zoom. Basically in that zoom camera, it's got 3 separate cameras that it jumps to as you zoom in further. So the farther you zoom, the more pixelated it's gonna get. And you can still use it when it's fully zoomed in and all pixelated. There are certainly things you're gonna be able to pick out, but the further in you do zoom, the worse that image is gonna really break up, and especially because it's really all digital zoom. You're not getting any optical zoom in this at all. Now, the Matrice 30T has a 16 times optical zoom and then a 200 times digital zoom. So it's definitely got a bigger digital zoom than the M4T. Again, the further you go, the worse the image is gonna look, but it does have that 16 times optical, which means it's not gonna digitize as long as you stay under that 16 times. You're gonna be just using the glass to zoom, and that's gonna make your images crisper and more in focus. All right, flight time with the M4TD is gonna be 54 minutes. Like I said, that's more than the Matrice 4T actually. The TD has about 5 more minutes of flight time, whereas the M30T is rated at about 41 minutes. So you're getting considerably more flight time out of the M4TD than you are the M30T. Now, we should also mention the batteries for both of these drones. The M4TD has 1 battery, so that's all you gotta worry about. The M30T has 2 batteries, so you got to think of this over the life of the drone, how much you want to spend on batteries. It's going to be double when you're talking about the Matrice 30T. But the benefit of having those 2 batteries for the M30T is that you can hot swap them. So drone lands, pop a battery out, put a new one in, pop another battery out, put the new one in, and you're right back up in the air. You don't have to turn the drone off, reboot it, all that kind of good stuff. It can just go right back up in the air without ever turning off. Whereas the Matrice 4TD, you're gonna have to land it, turn it off, take the battery out, put a new battery in, start it up again, and then take off. Deployment time on both of these drones is gonna be really quick. The M4TD is gonna do it in 30 to 45 seconds. The M30T is gonna be a little bit longer because you gotta get it out of the box, unfold it, all that kind of good stuff. But it's still gonna be under a minute. You're looking at probably 50 to 55 seconds that you can get this drone out of the back of your truck or your car, get it up in the air. It's gonna be under a minute. Operating temperatures for both of these drones are -2 up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. So it can take the really, really cold. It can take the really, really hot. Could you probably cheat on either end on one of these and go push it a little further? You probably could, and you would probably be okay. I'm not gonna recommend it, and that's not what DJI recommends, but -4 up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit for both of these drones. Talked a little bit earlier about the weather rating. So both the M4TD and the M30T are IP55 rated. That means you can fly it in rain, you can fly them in snow, and it's not going to bother the drone. Now, I wouldn't go crazy if it's like a crazy blizzard and you can't see with your own eyes. Don't think the drone is magically gonna be able to see with its eyes. Make sure the ports are closed. You don't wanna have attachments on them. So if you've got a speaker spotlight, that kind of thing, you don't wanna fly it with that because then water can get down in the crevices and cause problems. And when you're done flying with them, you wanna make sure you dry them off really, really good. Max wind speed both of these drones can take is 27 miles an hour. Now, I guarantee they can do more than that, but again, DJI recommends 27 miles an hour and under, so you should try to stick to that if at all possible. The M4TD will go 42 miles an hour. The M30T will go 51 miles an hour. Both of those are in sport mode. We tell people not to use sport mode because it turns off all of your sensors, and that can be a problem because if you're getting ready to run into something, the drone is not going to stop you or warn you before you hit that thing. If you've got your sensors off, you're really flying dangerously. But the M30T, in terms of being fast, it's gonna take this one 51 miles an hour versus 42. Now let's talk about transmission range. The M30T is gonna be around 9 miles. That's gonna be way out of your line of sight. So keep that in mind. Legally, for 95% of you in the United States, you have the ability to fly the drone, but only within your line of sight. You got to get all sorts of waivers and things to be able to fly out of your line of sight. So 9 miles is going to be way past what you can see. The Matrice 4TD is rated at 15 miles. So even better transmission range, but again, it's going to be way out of your line of sight. So for most of you, that's not going to really matter. What it means is both of them have really good transmission range. Like I mentioned, both of these drones have sensors all the way around them. Those drones are telling you if you're gonna get close to something. So on the remote, if you get close to something that you're not supposed to be getting close to, a building or a tree or a person, the drone is gonna start beeping and it's gonna start flashing on the remote itself to tell you that, hey, you're getting close to something. One really cool thing about the Matrice 4TD though, is you can actually look out of those sensors. They have something called vision assist. So in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen I'm showing you right now, you see a little grayed out box, but you'll see propellers in there. You can click on that, then you can choose which sensors to look out of. You can look left, right, forward, or backwards, and you can look straight down as well out of that bottom sensor. But that's kind of a unique safety feature. So if you are flying in sort of close quarters, you can get a closer look at how close you are to something just by looking out of those sensors. The M30T does not have that feature. It doesn't have vision assist, but it does have an FPV camera on the front of the drone. This can be very useful because one of the things you can do with the Matrice 30T is you can hook up 2 remotes to this drone. So one remote, the pilot would be responsible for flying the drone, you know, forward, backward, up and down. The other remote would be used to control the gimbal on the camera. So it would move it up and down, left and right, and it would only focus on moving that camera and not the actual flying. So in that instance, pilot 1, who is actually flying the aircraft forward, backward, up and down, they are gonna fly using that FPV camera on the front. Now, it's not like a gimbaled camera. It's not gonna be smooth video, and it only looks forward. But that's how that pilot flies while the other pilot is using the main camera. You can also do something called a handoff with the Matrice 30T, where I could be in one location, I fly the drone a mile away, it's just getting close to out of my sight, and then there's another pilot 2 miles away that can actually take control of the drone. Both the M30T and the Matrice 4TD have RTK antenna built into them already. With the older drones like the Mavic 3T and the Mavic 2 Enterprise, those drones you actually had to attach like a little top hat, a little RTK antenna on top of the drone. It wasn't there all the time. It was an extra add-on piece that you would need to add. With these drones, both of them, they both have RTK antenna built into them already, so that is not something you're gonna have to add down the line. Now, to use RTK, which stands for real-time kinematics, and basically what it is, it's GPS on steroids. It's gonna make your flights really accurate, it's gonna make your maps really accurate, so RTK is a good thing. But to be able to use RTK, you're gonna have to log in to an N-trip network, which is essentially like a broadcast RTK signal that you can pay to log into. I know some states have a free version. I think Iowa has a free one, but you can log into that network to get your GPS accuracy. Or DJI has 2 products you can use. You can use the DRTK2 base station, which is their older one, or you can use the brand new DRTK3 base station. The newest one is gonna be more updated and is gonna have more bells and whistles, but if you have the old DRTK2, you don't have to buy a new one. You can still use RTK with that older DRTK base station. All right, let's talk about some of the smart features. One of the big ones, everybody loves it, is Smart Track. Both of these drones have Smart Track on them. Essentially, you can click on a car, you can click on a person, and it is gonna follow that object for miles and miles. Now, the drone isn't actually flying, like, it's not following the person, not like you can do on like consumer drones. This is not like a follow me mode. The drone actually uses that powerful zoom camera on both of them to follow that object. So the idea is you get really, really high up. So you're flying up at 400 feet, you lock in on a car, and it will follow that car for miles. It's really pretty incredible how well both of these drones do. Both of these drones have a laser rangefinder built in, so you're gonna use that to actually measure the distance of an object from the drone. You'll be able to tell like the height of a building. It's gonna give you GPS coordinates above sea level, all sorts of different stuff. But that laser rangefinder, we've tested both of these and they both go over a mile. So really impressive, but they're gonna tell you exactly how far that object or that car or that person is from the drone. With the Matrice 4TD though, you've actually got this AI function where it's gonna identify objects. It's gonna be able to identify a car or a person, and it will count how many are in the scene. So like you go over a parking lot, it's gonna tell you exactly how many cars there are in that parking lot. It can even tell you how many people are in that parking lot. And if you were doing this over a lake or the ocean, it would even be able to tell you how many boats it sees at any given time. Up in the right-hand corner, it's gonna do a continuous count of what it sees. The Matrice 30T does not have this function. The Matrice 4TD also has a fly tube mode. So you're gonna be able to drop a pin somewhere off in the distance and you're gonna tell the drone, I want you to fly to that pinpoint at this altitude, and the drone's gonna do that. Pretty simple function, but can be pretty useful. You've got terrain follow, so say you're wanting to stay at a steady height of 100 feet over the ground. When you've got terrain follow on, that means the drone is gonna go up and down with any hills or any objects that it comes across that are on the ground below it. So if there's a big hill, the drone is gonna be 100 feet above that hill. It's not gonna be 100 feet above where it took off from. The M30T does not have that feature. It does not have terrain follow. The Matrice 4TD has a cruise control function where you set the drone to go off in a certain direction at a certain speed, and it's just gonna continue to fly in that direction at that exact speed until you tell it to stop. So very similar to what your car does with cruise control, which is why they call this feature cruise control. There's also a point of interest feature on this where you can drop a pin on an object. You can set the exact distance and the exact height that you want to be away from that object, and then you can set the drone to circle in a certain direction at whatever height you're at, just continuously fly around that object. You can then control the camera however you want, but the drone will continue to fly in that circle until you tell it not to. Like I said, both of these drones can do mapping, they can, and it's not gonna be terrible maps. But again, the Matrice 4E or the Matrice 4D are gonna be better for mapping. Again, they've got that mechanical shutter, and they've also got that really nice RGB color sensor that the M30T and the Matrice 4TD just don't have. On the plus side, you can do thermal mapping with both the M30T and the M4TD. So if that's something you might need in the near future, then either of these drones can supply that. So again, sorry, lots of M's, lots of 4s, lots of T's, lots of 30s. Can be a little confusing. As for accessories, both of these drones, you can put accessories on top. So with the Matrice 4TD, you're gonna have actual DJI components. There's a speaker, there's a spotlight. I'm sure there will be third-party accessories as well, like parachutes and things like that. But right now on the top, you can put a speaker and a spotlight, and those are made by DJI. With the M30T, there are things like speakers and spotlights you can put on it. There's even a combo speaker spotlight, but those are third-party. So in terms of repairs and things like that, not everything is gonna go straight back to DJI. It might have to go to that third party, so keep that in mind. With the Matrice 30T, you're gonna use the DJI RC Plus remote. It's nice, it's big, but with the M4TD, you're actually gonna get the RC Plus 2. They both look really similar. They both have bright screens, so they are both great remotes, but the 4TD has the remote with a longer transmission range, and it's obviously upgraded in some other ways as well. The ports are in different places, etc. You use DJI Pilot 2 with both of these drones. So if you've used it in the past, if you've used DJI Enterprise drones in the past, you're gonna be very familiar with it. It's gonna look complicated, but it really is not that bad once you get the hang of it. And again, flying these drones, it's all about practice. Like, you can't just expect to use it when an emergency comes and know how to use it right out of the gate. You got to go out and actually fly. Go out into an open field and just start pushing buttons. Nothing's going to bring it down. You just want to figure out what each of these functions do, and the ones you're going to use the most, make sure you practice those and know how to use them when you are out on an important mission. Now, when you purchase these drones, you're going to get a hard case, you're going to get chargers, you're going to get some batteries, but I can't give you the price right now. Things have been all over the board over the last couple of months due to the tariffs, and geopolitical issues going on. So you got to reach out to me. You got to call us at the number below, or you can email us. You can text us too at that number, and I'll give you the accurate pricing at that time. But again, we saw a big jump and then we saw something come back down. And by the time you watch this video, I'm not sure where things will be. So reach out to us. We really, really appreciate you guys stopping by. It does take a lot of work to make these videos. So give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.